Now it's time to do it all over again, but this time with vowels. So we did Jonah 1:1 and 1:2 learning the letters. And by the way, you might just pause this recording right now and see if you can name all these letters starting here and going to there. By the way, this is called a sof pasuk. It's kind of like the period, but anyway, we'll get to that eventually. See if you can do the letters. Remember the vowels, the points, were added in the Middle Ages by the Masoretes, like from the 600s on. This dot on top and the dots and the squigglies in the bottom. So we're going to learn the vowels now inductively. I'm going to do Jonah 1:1 vowels, Jonah 1:2 vowels, and then I'll do a video where we stop and look at the vowels systematically. But let's go ahead and start. Let's learn some vowels. So this first, like a flat line, this underscore, this line, is called a patak. And it is a normal A. Now, it's not a ah. They don't do ah as American. They don't do ah. It's an ah. It's not a long A. This is a long A. I'll tell you what this one is in a second. It's not the shortest of A's. This is the shortest of A's right here. That is kind of the patak with this other thing next to it. More on that in a second. Notice, wow, there's a lot of A sounds in Hebrew, isn't there? Yes, and we'll systematize it soon enough. But this is a patak, just an A, and it's pronounced ah. So va is how I would pronounce this, or wa if you go with the old pronunciation. So va. All right, so that's patak, ah. This is the shortest of all Hebrew vowels. And when I say long, short in Hebrew, I kind of do mean how long the sound is held. So what's the difference between this A and this long A? For me, it's how long the sound is held. Now, I'm not going to be real sophisticated at doing that. Don't hold me to that standard. But in general, this is a shorter, it is held for a shorter period of time than this one, and this very short A here, an A with a little short mark over the top of it, is held, in theory, would be held even shorter than this A. So they're different A's. This is a normal A. But this shava is what this is called. The shava is the shortest of sounds. It's just a. And so vaya is how those first two syllables would be pronounced. Va is a syllable, and then ya is a syllable. By the way, there are two different kinds of shava. There's only one kind in this verse, so that's what we're talking about here. And this is called the vocal schwa because it's pronounced. There actually is another schwa we'll talk about soon enough that's not pronounced. Why would they do that? I don't know. But anyway, this is a vocal schwa. Vaya. And then this is a heuric. Now, if it was by itself, like here, if it was heuric, if it was right here, it'd be pronounced I, like a normal I. Not necessarily the shortest of I's, but an I. But this is a special combo. If you go to McDonald's and I get a combo. I get a Big Mac, a fries, and a Coke. I get them all at a reduced price. It's a combo, But this is a combo too. It's a vowel combo. It's called a heuric yod. Now, ours is not to question why. Ours is just to memorize or die. When the heuric is with a yod, that's a special combo. I know that combo, and it's pronounced E when it has. And there actually are I's in the English language that are pronounced E. Think of the word machine. That's the kind of I that this is here. But anyway, so this whole word is pronounced va, ya, he. The yod in this case, in the heuric yod case, the yod is not pronounced like a consonant. It's a special case. The yod here is pronounced, right? Va, ya. The ya is pronounced. But with a heuric yod, the yod in the heuric yod, and I know this is confusing, but don't worry. We will see it over and over and over and over again. And what is hard today will be easier tomorrow. So don't fret. Don't stress. Take a deep breath. But the yod in this special situation, this special news, in this special situation, the yod is kind of piggybacking that vowel. And so let me tell you a story. The Masoretes in the 600s on, they thought we need to help people know what the vowels were here. The ancient Hebrews knew what the vowels were, right? They knew the language. They didn't have to have the vowels in the same way that modern Jews don't need the vowels because they know how to read it. But the Masoretes came up with a system for the vowels. Here's the story. Long time ago, in ancient Israel, they were starting to develop a system. And so you have these special situations where basically two or three letters were beginning to hint, there's a vowel here. There are actually three of those in this verse. The yod, in some circumstances, was beginning to hint, there's a vowel here. This hey here is beginning to hint, there's a vowel here. This vav with this dot on top is beginning to hint, there's a vowel here. So those are called mothers of reading. Matres lectionis in Latin, mothers of reading. These three consonants, I'm not remembering any others, but definitely these three consonants, the yod, the hey, and the vav, in some circumstances in ancient Hebrew, were beginning to hint, there's a vowel here. Now, because they were only beginning, remember, languages aren't usually invented. You don't have a committee get together and invent a language, And so it wasn't always consistent. There are places where the vav isn't there, and it's just the holum. In fact, there's one right here, right? See here at the very end, you've got that dot above that will tell you what it is in a second. It could have been written with a vav under it, but it isn't. And so Hebrew is going to drive some of you nuts. But Hebrew was not consistent. We would say maybe that this is defective. It's not really defective. In fact, I wouldn't normally expect it to be there. Don't worry about it. But so sometimes you had the piggyback, helper. Sometimes you didn't. But in some cases, not in every case, but in some cases, certain letters like this yod were in ancient Hebrew beginning to hint there's a vowel here. This is not very important. As long as you can pronounce it, you're fine. You don't need to know the history of the language. So Hirak yod is a special vowel combination. Again, don't worry. I will repeat this over and over and over again. And so we're just learning it, seeing it for the first time. We're getting to know vowels, getting to know all about them. Anyway, so we have patak, we have a vocal shva, and we have a hirak yod, vayehi. Or if you want to go with the old pronunciation, wayehi. All right, next word. This is another, what is it? What is it? Can you remember? It's a shva, another vocal shva. And so this is pronounced duh. And then this is a bet, but because it doesn't have the dot in it, because it doesn't have the dagesh in it, it's pronounced like a V. And we have, what's that letter again? It's a patak. So we have davar. Vayehi davar. All right? Which means, and the word came. By the way, notice that Hebrew, you don't need to know this yet, but we're learning it inductively. Hebrew tended to put the verb first, and then the subject. So this is verb subject. That's the opposite of the way we normally do it in English. And it often began with an and. We're going to learn that vowel in the front is an and. Okay, don't be confused. Sorry if I'm overloading you. All of that is extra information. You don't need to know. What do you need to know in this video? You need to know patak, shava, hirak yod. Shava, patak. Okay. This is the name of God, which is pronounced Yahweh or Yahweh and the older pronunciation. These vowels don't match what I just said, right? Yah, that's not an A. Yahweh, Yahweh, that's not an A sound. I told you that's a long A. I'll go ahead and tell you what that is now. The long A is called a kamatz. So the kamatz is the long A, the patak is the medium A, and then this one here is the shortest of A's. And then, of course, if all the sounds sucked out of it, it's just the shva. But this is, these vowels go with the word Adonai, which means Lord. The Masoretes did not say Yahweh. And I feel like I can say it because Isaiah said it, I believe. It was in between the Old and the New Testaments that they stopped saying it. So this is the word of the Lord, is how this davar Adonai, if you want to go with the reverential way of saying it, or davar Yahweh. Vayehi davar Yahweh. So this, what is this? 3 dots, lots of dots. So this is an E. This is called a sagol. Not Sigourney Weaver, but a sagol. So this is a normal E, and that's the glottal slop, not glottal slop, but the glottal stop, aleph. So this is L. So is how it's pronounced. L. So Vayehi davar Adonai El Yonah. Okay, so this what is this on top? It is a long O, and it is pronounced O, and it's called a holum. Okay, so if Hirik Yod is a special vowel combination E, then holum vav, this is called a holum vav, is a special combination O, and it's pronounced O. So this is Yonah. And then this is the kamatz right there, another long A, so Yonah, El Yonah. So here, this is a holum vav, and this is a kamatz. So we have Vayehi davar Adonai El Yonah. The word of the Lord came to Jonah. So we've had a patak, we've had a vocal shva, we've had a hirik yod, we've had a shava, we've had a patak. That's a makef, it's not anything, it's just a dash. We have vocal shwa, we have a kamatz, we have a sagol, we have a holum vav, we have a kamatz. Another, what is this? It's a sagol. So this is, if it had the dot, it would be ben, but without the dot, it's ven. And another makef that's just a dash. That is ven. Okay, what is this very short A? So we have the long A, which is the kamatz. We have this normal A, which is a patak. This is a katef patak, which is a really short A. Again, it gets less and less breath. So we have ah, and then ah, and then ah, and then to the shva. So anyway, less and less length. So this is a katef patak, a short A with a short mark over it. So we have Vayehi davar Yahweh El Yonah ven a, and then me. So this is which one is this? We had it here, but it's not a hirik yod, it's a hirik, just a hirik by itself, just an I, normal I. Then a me, and then tai. So this is a yod, but it's a patak yod. So it's I. It's kind of like I. But you can hear the yod, can't you? Yeah, I. So amitai. By the way, this dagish, I'm not going to tell you what it is, but it's a little different dagish than this one. It looks the same, but this is different. But hold that thought. All right. See if you can figure it out before I get to it. But I'll do it in a video. I'll have a video on dagishes and I'll explain it. So we've got patak, shava, hirik yod, shava, patak, shava, kamatz, sagol, holum vav, kamatz, sagol, katef patak, hirik, patak. Okay, here's a new one. Okay, we have 2 dots. Notice we have 1 dot, 2 dots, 3 dots, 4, 5 dots, 6. No, we don't have 4 dots. It's not a thing. Only 3 dots at the most. The sagol has 3 dots. But the 2 dots is a sound. It's called a sere, tsere, and it's pronounced a. So this is lay. The aleph kind of goes away, kind of disappears in the sound here. It's called a quiescent aleph. You don't need to know that, I guess, yet. But this is lay, more. And that's a holum again. But it's not a holum vav because there's no vav there. It's just a holum. It's a long O still. Just even though the vav's not there to piggyback on it, it's still a holum. Okay, still a long O. So again, what are all the vowels in Jonah 1:1? Patak, vocal shva, hirik yod. Shava, patak, shava, kamatz, sagol, holum vav. Kamatz, sagol, katef patak, hirik, patak, sere, holum. And it's pronounced Vayehi davar Yahweh El Yonah ven amitai lemor. And it translates as, and was the word of Yahweh to Jonah, son of Amittai, saying. This special circumstance, notice there are two T's in the transliteration. More on that in the future. This has been the vowels in Jonah 1:1.